Welcome to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to review issue 21 of Darth Vader.
Fortress Vader Part 3. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have been caught up with this series and our latest review of last issue, we are heading home.
To Mustafar.
Mustafar.
Yeah.
Well, his new home. The last place where he was utterly defeated by Obi-Wan.
Yes. We open up the issue. They have taken Princess Naboo.
Queen Amidala.
Why am I saying
Padme.
Naboo?
You were thinking of Princess Leia, probably.
God, that is terrible. Anyway, we are taking her ship to Mustafar.
Yep.
And we get a weird panel in the very beginning of him just staring off into space, and this is just him having kind of like hallucination or daydreaming, if you will.
It's a younger version of himself. You can tell when he's standing facing away from you, and then he turns. It's like a weird mutated. It's got Vader's mask right there, and then Vader's like looking down at it. It's like, it's a weird...
It's like a younger version of him. It's right. Anakin.
Yeah, it's basically, I think, symbolizing that, yeah, he was destined to become Vader his whole life, basically. You know what I mean?
That's good.
So
I like that.
Anyway, then we pick back to the present, right? Vader is with two commanders, and they are about to approach into the atmosphere of, or become into orbit of Mustafar.
Yep.
And one of the commanders says, all right, well, I'll let you know when we're getting close, but her main question is, why Mustafar?
Yep.
And we don't find out right now. Yep. We jump back to Coruscant.
She basically just reiterates to Vader, look, I was sent by this by the senator,
the Emperor now.
The Emperor, sorry. I was sent by the Emperor.
Yep.
I'm at your disposal. Like,
yep.
You tell me what you want, and I'll give it to you. But I do have one question in regards to this project, and that is, why Mustafar? So essentially, what she is like the designer.
Yeah,
like the Emperor's designer.
Yep. So the Emperor is discussing with Vader that go to your new world. You have your new world. Let me take Colonel Bran is her name. She's a fabulous architect. She worked on my palace. She will build you whatever you want on that world to make it your own. And he's kind of like, I understand, you going to this world. This is where you were defeated. This is where you were burned. And even the Emperor is kind of like, he still wants to know. He's like, I have my suspicions about this, but why Mustafar?
Yeah. So it's like, I like how they did that, because here's the commander or the architect asking why Mustafar, and then we cut to like a backflash of why Mustafar from the Emperor.
Yeah, he wants to know as well. So then we get back to Vader, and they are coming in, getting close to the atmosphere, to the orbit, and Vader says, let me know when we're there. I will take command of the ship, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and next we get a little bit of architect talk between the architect and what the other officer. Essentially, she hasn't been giving any inclination from Vader, of course, because he doesn't talk.
Right.
Of what he wants out of his home base now, what he wants it to look like, how he wants it architected by her.
She doesn't know his aesthetic. Like she has no idea what he would want. In other dealings with other clients, they tell her what they want, and then she comes up with ideas and rough drafts. But
in this scenario, what's actually throwing her off more is she thought that he at first wanted something just plain and simple, until she got into this ship of the princesses.
Of Padme,
of Padme's.
Yeah.
And,
it's a gorgeous ship.
It's a gorgeous ship. She's saying it's one that should be, it's like
museum worthy.
Yeah.
Right. Just the architecture of the ship is just outstanding, and she just can't. She's having a hard time.
Like it doesn't fit him at all.
It doesn't fit him at all. So she's kind of confused about that. And the other officer's kind of like, well, you know his reputation, right? And she's like, yeah, I do. He doesn't talk much. And then we see this helmet sitting on in the ship, and she's kind of like, what is this mask? What does it represent? It looks sinister. Like, why is it just sitting here? And they're just confused. Like, what are we going to do? And then they get notified they are entering the atmosphere, and they have no heat shields available.
Yeah. Now keep in mind that this is a volcanic planet.
Yes, it is.
It's surrounded by volcanoes and lava. Exactly what you would think of when I say it is a volcanic planet.
Exactly. So as you know, of us leaving space, leaving Earth and coming back from Earth or to Earth, going through the atmosphere is very, very hot. There has to be heat shields or you will burn up to death.
Not to mention you're going into a planet that's probably thousands and thousands of degrees
hotter. Exactly. Yeah. And Vader, she's freaking out. She's like, oh my God, Vader, we have no heat shields. We're going to burn to death. She's getting pretty pissed off.
Well, yeah, she's like, I didn't come to this mission. I didn't come on the ship for a suicide mission.
Exactly.
And you can see her start to grab her gun.
She goes to her sidearm a little bit, right? Vader just puts up his hand. He snatches the sidearm out with the Force, and he is like, you were brought here for whatever I require, you will do. And what you will do is obey my orders and sit down. And then he says, there may be pain.
I thought he was gonna kill him.
I did it first.
I thought he was gonna just straight up kill him, and and that was it. But
they are screaming through the atmosphere.
Yeah, right, and as they enter the atmosphere, we do get a shot of just some natives to the planet. Just looking upon this thing that is entering their atmosphere. Now, I can't tell that that's a ship. And I'm guessing fast. Neither can they. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why Vader did that. I don't know.
Possibly, but I think when we find out when he lands, the true reason for that. So the natives are kind of like, one of them is asking their father, what is this? He's like, one of them says, fire comes.
Is it life fire or end fire?
Yeah, life fire.
Basically what that means is it bringing life, or is this, a planet killer to end life?
Exactly. And of course, they have no idea. They say, we shall see. Vader finally lands, and the ship is like burnt to a crisp. And the first thing he says when he gets out, better. I think he did that purposely because he knew what Padme's ship looked like. He didn't, he didn't want to make any alterations, but he wanted to change it to, and even Colonel Bren now says, well, now I understand his aesthetic. He likes things dark. He likes things, I wouldn't say burnt, but
destroyed.
He likes it somewhat destroyed. He doesn't like pretty things, So by that, she kind of understands now a little bit of what he wants, but it's still unclear. So Vader's heading into this cave, and she's asking Vader, I'm going to get working on your design. I'll leave you alone for the moment, but I just need one question. Like, do you think that you're going to be doing much entertaining? It's just
that's right. I
Vader,
forgot about that.
Vader says nothing. He just whatever. And we do jump back to the Emperor again, and this is where Vader explains why he went to Mustafar. So he says, you sent me to Mustafar to bleed his kyber crystal, and he found this locus in the planet that he drew so much power from as he was getting his kyber crystal. So he understands that at Mustafar, that's where this great power is, and he wants to be there to learn more and to get deeper into the dark side.
Probably the being at Mustafar will be the most powerful that he will ever be.
Mm-hmm. He'll gain more power,
and he wants to study from that power.
Mm-hmm. Feed off of it, feed his anger, and become more powerful. The Emperor's just like, okay, now I get it. I understand. But he's like, you know what? He's like, after all your power is my power. So it's just the Emperor, just feeding off of him as well. And so we get back with Vader, and he is just like, this place is a great mystery, and I have work to do. So it may take me a while. Just leave me be. And she's just like, fine, I'll begin right away. And then she goes back to the ship, and she's speaking with the other guy, and he's just kind of like, so, you making any headway on this? And she's like,
She pretty much tells him, look, I've had tough clients before, and basically this conversation is, I'm not going to disappoint this client.
Right.
Like, but it's so funny hearing someone talk like Darth Vader is a client of hers.
Exactly. Yeah, so they're just, she's going to start right away. She said it may take me 3 or 4 hours, but I'm going to start.
I love the panel of him focusing his power on the object and
Yeah.
the writings on the wall
Mhm.
in behind him. I love that panel.
Yeah, so we see Vader right in front of that object. He's, meditating. The next panel is Bran and the officer kind of, overlooking the kind of spot landscaping to see how she can use the landscape and the lava to the structure she wants to build.
It flows southeast to
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, Vader is focusing and this writing stuff on the walls there. We have no idea what it means. And then back to her again saying, I kind of want to use his fortress. I kind of want to incorporate the lava. I want to see if I can build something to where, the structure is not going to be melted immediately, but to use the lava flow kind of as part of the structure for him. So then she comes in and kind of disturbs him a little bit, saying, I think I have a rough draft for you. And Vader's just kind of like, look,
Well, she's like, you might be pleased. And
Yeah.
he immediately says, you are wrong.
Yes, you are absolutely wrong. And the rough draft of the structure is not what we've seen like in the movies, actually. So she's like, all right. She kind of yells back at the other officer, Rugo or whatever.
Rugo.
Yeah. And she's like, we officially have entered the brandy phase.
That's right, because earlier she was like, I'm going to need some tea, and later I'll need some brandy.
Brandy, right. She was so stressed out. So she's like, we've entered the brandy phase of the project, and we see her eyes open, right? And we don't know what happened. And then we hear a screech. Vader's kind of like, what's going on? Vader comes out of the cave, and she's dead.
She's laying dead.
It's like she was shot by something, right?
Yeah.
So Vader peeks into the ship and sees the other officer who's actually wearing that mask.
What we assume is the other
I believe it's the other guy, because it's the only other person there.
But we haven't seen... It's dark in there, so we haven't necessarily seen if the other officer was also shot and killed and laying in there, and maybe this other individual from outside took the mask. Or, like Jarrell's theory, is it the officer, and he put on the mask, and that mask made him do something?
Oh, I'll show you in another panel coming up soon as to why I believe it's the officer that was there. So I'll show you in a minute. So we see this, it's red. He's got the mask on, his evil eyes. It looks pretty cool. So then we get a backstory as what this mask is. And the Emperor is saying, this is the mask of Lord Mammon. It's a powerful artifact of the Dark Side.
Right?
He was a Sith. But Vader's like, well, I looked his name up. He's not in any of the archives. And Emperor's like, that's because he's been suppressed from that. Because he found the Force in a very unique way. And he's kind of like he knew both sides of the Force, but he was very, very dark. And that's why he was hidden. But he says, look, take this mask. I think you'll learn from it. Learn from this mask. And so immediately after this, Vader kills this person in this mask. Now, the reason
Does he, though?
Yeah, he slices his lightsaber. Because look at this panel right here. You see that's...
Oh, yeah, he gone.
He slices him, but that is his uniform.
Oh, yeah.
See? So that's why I think it's that guy. He put it on. The mask maybe is very, deep in the dark side and made him shoot the other woman somehow, with his gun. And Vader, of course, was very upset that he put the mask on, so he just sliced him in half, basically. And then we see what his fortress,
the traditional fortress
will look like.
Now,
so
why would she show him that fortress, and then we walk in and see this one?
I don't know if he was working on it. I wonder if maybe when he put the mask on, it somehow got a vision of what Vader really wanted. But it wasn't him who thought of it. It's the mask.
Maybe
I think it's
true.
I think it's the mask
because he liked to build things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he liked to build things. So and that's why the Emperor said, "Take the mask. I think you'll learn from it." So I think the mask is what did it, but it made the other guy go crazy and kill. So it's a really cool issue. I like the aspect of the mask.
A little confusing, but still a very good issue.
Yeah, I like the I like the concept of the mask, and by the next issue cover, it looks like Vader is going to be
putting on the mask.
No, I wouldn't say putting it on, but gazing into it to learn more. Yeah, it'd be funny if he put it on. That'd be interesting. I don't think he'd survive that long, though. So
this was an awesome issue, guys. Let us know what you think of issue 21 of Darth Vader. Can't wait for the next one to see what becomes of the fortress and more events on Mustafar.
It's absolutely amazing, this series. If you haven't picked it up yet, I'm so excited to find out where we're going to continue on, because there's so much story that can be told. But issue 21, you know, the series is still ongoing. No end game yet, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So let us know
how
your
much
thoughts.
further can this go, and we got a lot of material.
We definitely do. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow us on NocBro Nation on Twitter and Facebook. And stay tuned for next month for issue 22 of Vader and Fortress Vader. So we'll see you guys later. We're NocBro Nation. We're out.